Hi all, welcome to the Marquee Matchups for the 27th of February. Lots and lots of routes here, 21 I've got marked down on my sheet for this week. So if you can smash the links, be awesome, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter at G the Legend. All the links are down below for both the channel and social media links as always. But as I said, tons of options. Remember to check out everyone in the predictions league as always. I'll leave their links down in the description below, and we'll obviously leave all the ratings and the predictions in the description too. So Monaco versus Bordeaux is our first option of the week. For me, I would say I can't see 100% it happening. What we're doing this week is we are, due to the amount of games and the amount of standout games that are 6 still get significant importance, as we're shown like here as Monaco Bordeaux is big in France, but it's not the biggest games and not one of the biggest games in France. However, Bordeaux players, there's plenty of cheap ones to go for, like Sanker, Otavio, they kind of players. Sabali is another example. But the reason why I'm saying 6 out of 10, a normal 6 out of 10 would give me a good shout. This week it's not as strong. EPL, you've got multiple games. You've got Manchester City Arsenal, which is a league game for. It's funny how it's like, I think it's like a Thursday night or something. Manchester City versus Chelsea, and then you have a bottom of the table clash of Southampton versus Stoke. Now, Man City Arsenal or Man City Chelsea I'm giving as a 6. The Southampton versus Stoke I'm giving as a 5. They seem to want to put in the odd EPL game for whatever random reason. Now this week I can't see them justifying an EPL choice because of the amount of big games that are standing out. However, still be prepared regardless. 79 rating, as long as you've got that covered, you should be fine. Stoke players, if like Stoke and Southampton, you would go for like Aflai, Gabbiadini, and Dye, Staphylidis. Like Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, you go for like Delph, Mendy, Danilo, Kolasanic, Chambers. They kind of sort of players. Eduardo Caballero as well. Then Italy, you have Milan versus Inter, Lazio versus Juventus, and Napoli versus Roma. It's mental that there's another league has 3 notable options, but this is kind of the theme. But however, Milan versus Inter seems to be the most standout because it is the Milan derby. That is a 7. All my 7s this week are the ones I would say, guys, are my picks, and I've got 6 out of them. So I'm giving you like my 4 main ones and 2 alternatives, if you want to call it that way. So with Milan versus Inter, you've got like Silva, Andre Silva, Kalinic, Calahagnu, Dalbert, Candreva, Rafinha, Borgia, the kind of players. Milan, you'd be well and truly covered. Lazio, Juventus, you can go like Bastos, Rugani, Sturaro, Napoli, Roma. You can look at Tonelli. Over to Australia, you've got the Melbourne's victory versus Melbourne Sydney. I've given it as a 5. I know some people might give it a higher on the scale, but I just don't think this will happen because I'm about 90% sure we've had it already. And we've already had quite a lot of A-League options lately, and they can easily dodge this one just due to the amount of games that are kicking about this week. Still, regardless, I would cover it a 70 rating. Smart options, you could go for all the goals in the league, so like Fornaroli, Sacudio, Macaroni, Diego Castro, and Ninkovic. We could also look at Troisi, for example, as well. Then going to League 1, you have AFC Wimbledon versus Cheltenham, which is a London derby. I don't see this really happening for a number of reasons, just mainly because it's a low on the food chain, but it's also just one of these routes that they can easily avoid it. It's like AFC Wimbledon's big game is MK Dons, and Cheltenham definitely have bigger games, I'm sure, in the league. However, regardless, as long as you've got a 67 rated squad, I'm sure you've probably got players packed from like the bronze pack method, or even just silver packs, that these players have just popped up in your club, and you'll find it fairly straightforward. Over to League 2's version, they have 2 options of Accrington Morecambe and Swindon versus Yeovil. Swindon versus Yeovil, I can't really see happening. It's like a West Country derby, and Accrington Morecambe is one of these. It's apparently just a rivalry between both teams. Worth noting though, with Accrington and Morecambe are fighting to stay up, Accrington are fighting for promotion, so that has a bit of importance, which is interesting if they were to just throw the sneaky option in of that. But same applies, if you've got the bronze pack method, you're going to be well and truly covered, I'd imagine. if you've been relying on that, you probably have got an ample amount of League 2 players just sitting in your club unknowingly. Over to Russia, we've got Lokomotiv versus Spartak. The Russian league starts back up again. That only just adds a bit of fuel to the fire and can easily just justify them putting it in. Obviously we've not had a Russian league group for a couple of months now, just with obviously the winter break, and Russia just kind of wraps up all told for Christmas and kind of kicks back in for end of February. But for me, as long as you've got to a 78 rated squad, Lokomotiv, there's plenty of options, and Spartak have also just signed Maximovic as well, which will help defensively options. But you can go for like Denisov as a smart option from Lokomotiv Moscow. He probably could be quite popular due to rating, rarity and position. MLS starts back up for a new season, with Toronto versus Columbus being one of the marquee games in the league. Don't be surprised if they do an MLS option. Last week the Irish League started back up and some people did tout that, but I just didn't see it happening. This week I would say MLS could easily sneak in. I would say as long as you've got a 75 rated squad, you should be well and truly covered. If you've noticed some slip up, guys, I totally forgot to throw Altidore in over Bradley Wright Phillips. I completely slipped up there. I thought I'd nailed the squad right with Columbus and Toronto, but I clearly didn't. Columbus players, you can go for Higuain and Camara, but also worth noting as well, they could easily just make you go 2 players from both teams, so you could just go Camara and Higuain and you'd have the requirements instead of having to worry about a Toronto player. Over to Mexico is Guadalajara versus America. This is Super Classico, another 7 out of 10. Same applies, I'm saying as long as you've got a 75 rated squad, you're going to be well and truly fine. I've got away with 1 bronze in this. I can easily bulk up the rating if I needed to from a midfield perspective, and even a forward perspective if it came to it, and I can easily just put a silver or a silver left back and probably bump up the rating +1. I wouldn't want to really give up Vangioni, but for Guadalajara, the midfield is where they have a lot of the gold rares, and America you've got quite an ample amount as well. Ibarbugan recently transferred to America, Club America, and you can kind of nab him for 600. Portugal, you have plenty to work with, and I'm still giving this a strong 7 because it's Porto versus Porto. With Porto and Sporting, worth noting that they play twice in a week. They have a cup game and they also have a league game, so that gives more impetus to maybe suggest that they could just go this game. And it wouldn't surprise me as well, like Porto, you can go for like Corona, Hernani, Pereira. From Sporting you can go like Fernandez, Doumbia, that sort of route, and you wouldn't find yourself really struggling. It's an easy enough league to build. 78 rating is my kind of high end for the rating. It wouldn't be too expensive either, because I'd imagine we'd have most of the players still kind of sitting in the club. Over to Poland, this is one of the biggest games in Poland. I believe it's the Derby of Poland that it gets classed as. It's Legia Warsaw versus Lech Poznan. It's a top 2 clash, both fighting for the title. It's a big game, and despite that, I'm only giving it a 5 out of 10. But still be prepared regardless, because it has I know we just had a Polish game a couple of weeks ago. They could easily throw this in again, and then it would start to make us suspect, are they giving a new league SBC in the form of the Polish league? But as long as you've got the silvers, Pozdan's the only gold in the league, and I would probably, as long as you've got him, you're covered for ratings. And the dude from right mid is going to be quite popular, Barcroft, just due to rarity, and you'd be sorted. Over to South Africa, Orlando Pirates versus Kaizer Chiefs. I am genuinely putting that down as a 7 out of 10. It's the only 2 teams in the league, but it's the kind of option where they would make it either a nations based requirement or like so South Africa, or to tap into the nations, but they would also tap into the leagues. You'd expect several leagues quite easily, so don't be surprised to see people put in Eredivisie, Pro League for example, as some of the leagues that have South African players. But as well, in general, as long as you've got Shabalala and the goalkeeper, you're kind of sorted. And then guys like a couple players from the rest of the teams, you're sorted. Over to the second tier in Germany is Nuremberg versus Greuther Furth, and I made the same slip up as I did with Columbus game, where I didn't put in a player from Greuther Furth. I think I put in, it's just I put him in initially and then I accidentally swapped him out and never even twigged when I finished the recording. But the dude up top, right striker, is from Nuremberg, but it's I can't really realistically see it, but it's one of these games where with Nuremberg fighting to go up, they could easily just decide to sneak it in. And it wouldn't surprise me at the same time, but there's not too many goals in the league, as long as you've got most of them, as long as you don't give up Altintop, because he's the most expensive player in the league. But Sulu, Trash, these kind of players are fairly cheap. Over to Spain's second tier with Numancia versus Real Zaragoza. Another straightforward route. Agra's recently transferred. He is a gold rare now at 75, which helps. But even then, Numancia and Zaragoza, the dude at right centre back plays for them, so he's your only gold in the team between both teams. And then it's just a case of just peppering the team with a mix of silvers, even bronzes, and a couple of goals just to give you that 70 rating. But as I said, it's a 4 out of 10. I really don't see it happening because I just feel that they're not going to go lower league routes despite being notable derbies, and especially in these divisions when they don't come up that often. Over to Switzerland, we have one of the biggest games in Switzerland, which is Basel versus Zurich. Any game between a Basel team and a Zurich team is deemed very, very important. Still, regardless, 70 odd, I would imagine 70 rating would probably do it. It's not going to be hard to put together. Horu, Van Wolfswinkel, Stoker, Fry, Dye, Seri Dye, Vaslik. There's plenty to work with. Jeffren, plenty of defenders in midfield between both teams. You can easily do like so many teams, so many nationalities, but still, I've given it a 6 out of 10. It's a kind of curveball option. And the last route of the week is in Greece. Feels like nearly every week just now with Greece popping in. Olympiakos versus Panathinaikos. I've gave it a 5 out of 10. Obviously last week a lot of people fancied it. This is the big derby that's like the derby of, I can never remember, it's a big mouthful, it's a mouthful, I should always remember my derbies, but I don't think this would happen. We've already had it before and they can easily do it another time. Olympiakos and Panathinaikos aren't fighting for the title quite as well this year, which is quite interesting. Olympiakos sitting in third, Panathinaikos down at 9th, but still, for me personally, I think they can easily avoid this and go for other options. Hopefully this gives you plenty food for thought. As I said, Milan Inter, Toronto Columbus, Lokomotiv Spartak, Orlando Pirates Kaizer Chiefs, Guadalajara America, and Porto versus Sport are my main 6 to fancy for this week. Hopefully you find this useful. As always, let me know in the comments down below what you fancy for the marquee matchups. Smash likes as always, sub to the channel if you're new, follow me on Twitter at JayzALegend, and I will catch you all later.